The night Willow Creek went dark, I was in my shed, wrestling with a rusted bolt on my old motorcycle. The wrench slipped just as the lights flickered and died, plunging me into blackness. I figured it was a tripped breaker, but when I stepped outside, the entire street was a void. No porch lights, no street lamps, just neighbors emerging with flashlights, their beams jittery in the cold air. My name's Dan Coleman, a retired fire captain, 62, widowed, with 3 grandkids who think I can fix anything. After 30 years fighting fires, I thought I'd seen it all, but this wasn't a storm or a grid failure. This was deliberate, a gut punch from the people we trusted to keep our community safe, the Willow Creek HOA. I'd dealt with rules my whole career, safety codes, emergency protocols, but the HOA, under Catherine Wells, was a different beast. They didn't enforce, they bullied. Fines for a slightly overgrown hedge, snide newsletters, meetings held in secret. Lately, they'd tightened their grip, and this blackout felt like a declaration of war. I grabbed my flashlight and phone signal spotty, thanks to the HOA's crusade against a cell tower for curb appeal, and joined the neighbors. There was Ben, a grizzled Army vet, Lisa, who ran a daycare, and Rachel, who cared for her bedridden mother next door. "Your power out too?" Lisa asked, cradling her shivering toddler. "Whole block," I said. Ben grunted, called the power company. "Grid's fine, no outages reported." We exchanged uneasy glances, the kind that says you're staring at trouble but don't yet know its shape. That night, I slept with a battery-powered lantern by my bed and a fire extinguisher close. Old instincts never fade. I woke hourly, checking the temperature. It was dropping into the low 40s. Rachel's mother needed electric heat for her arthritis. Lisa's baby monitor was dead, without power. The silence was oppressive, the kind you feel in your bones before disaster strikes. By morning, still no power, no word from the HOA. They'd once fined me $75 for a trash can left out 6 hours too long. But now? Nothing. I marched to their office, a polished building by the community clubhouse, expecting it to be empty. Instead, Catherine Wells sat there, sipping tea, the room glowing under a generator's hum. "Dan," she said, cool as glass. "What's this about?" I kept my voice steady. "The power, Catherine. The block's dark, and the utility company says it's not them." "What did you do?" She leaned back, eyeing me like I was a nuisance. "The board voted to cut power to properties behind on dues. A temporary measure to ensure compliance." I blinked, rage rising. "You shut off power to families, in winter, without warning?" She shrugged. "7 properties, Dan, including yours. You're late." "By 5 days," I snapped, and I called to explain. She waved a hand. "It's policy. We're within our rights." I left before I said something I'd regret, her smugness searing into me. That day, I checked on neighbors. Rachel was panicking. Her mother's oxygen machine was on its last battery. Lisa had taken her kids to her sister's. Ben sat on his porch, sharpening a machete, muttering about dictators. As night fell, I stood on my porch, staring at the blackened street, the stars sharp and indifferent. Then I saw Ida flicker, orange and vicious, from Margaret Lane's house. A widow in her 80s, she lived alone, dependent on oxygen tanks, her smoke alarms useless without power. My heart sank. It wasn't a lamp. It was fire. I ran, boots pounding the icy pavement, no time for a flashlight. Flames clawed up Margaret's back wall, melting the siding. I yelled her name, tried the gate jammed tight. I kicked it twice, wood splintering on the third hit. The kitchen window pulsed with fire, likely a grease flare-up near the stove. Through the glass, I saw Margaret, frail and dazed, leaning on her walker. I ripped the screen door off, pounded the glass. "Margaret, it's Dan." No answer. I pulled my jacket over my mouth, backed up, and slammed my shoulder into the door. It cracked, then gave. Heat hit me like a fist, smoke burning my lungs. I dropped low, crawling through the haze. "Margaret." She turned, eyes wide, lost. I scooped her up, weighed nothing, and carried her out, the fire roaring as something crashed behind us. Outside, neighbors gathered. Lisa dialed 911. I laid Margaret on the grass, her breaths weak but steady. "You're okay," I said, draping my coat over her. She coughed, whispering, "You came." Fire trucks arrived too late to save half the house, but kept the blaze from spreading. The chief, A guy I'd mentored named Ryan shook his head. She's lucky you were there. Lucky I wasn't asleep, I growled. Then I saw her, Catherine Wells, stepping from a gleaming sedan, heels clicking, face a mask of crocodile tears. What happened? She asked. I didn't hold back. You did. You cut the power. Her alarms failed. She could have died. Her mask slipped, just for a moment. We followed protocol, she said. You built a death trap, I shot back. Neighbors were watching now, their silence louder than the sirens. Catherine adjusted her scarf, but the crowd's eyes pinned her like a spotlight. The next morning, Catherine called an emergency HOA meeting, announced with a half-hearted flyer. It was a performance rows of chairs, stale pastries, Catherine in a navy blazer with her cronies, Victor Morse, a shady legal advisor, and Ellen Price, obsessed with fence heights. The room filled fast. Lisa with her kids, Ben against the wall, Rachel clutching her arms. Catherine launched into a rehearsed speech about utility interruption policies. I interrupted. A woman nearly died, Catherine. Murmurs spread, a few clapped. She pressed on, flashing a PowerPoint claiming their right to cut shared infrastructure for unpaid dues. Ben barked, You're calling electricity an amenity? Victor chimed in, citing a 2018 vote. Nobody remembered. Rachel spoke softly, We never voted. You sent a survey and called silence agreement. Lisa stood, voice breaking. You endangered my kids. I stepped forward. You silenced alarms without notice. That's not policy, it's criminal. Catherine's composure cracked when she snapped. If residents prioritized dues over luxuries, this wouldn't happen. The room exploded, shouts, chairs scraping, Lisa crying, someone yelling, Oxygen's a luxury? I raised my voice. This isn't about dues. It's about power, your power. And it ends now. I walked out, half the room following. That night, I pulled out my old fire captain files, codes, standards, lessons from a tragedy that still haunted me. My brother, Tommy, died in a fire when I was 14. He was 11, always building model planes. Faulty wiring, no working smoke alarm. I was at a friend's house, playing cards while he suffocated. That guilt fueled me now. Margaret's fire wasn't just a disaster, it was a reckoning. I called Emily Hart, a reporter I'd helped years ago. She'd seen the viral video of our meeting. This is huge, Dan, she said. HOA abuse, elder endangerment, it's a story. Make it loud, I told her. 2 days later, Margaret was discharged to her daughters, her home charred. The HOA stayed silent, but we didn't. With lawyer Sophia Alvarez, we filed a class action lawsuit for negligence. The city audited the HOA, uncovering fake permits, inflated contracts, and $85,000 in miscellaneous funds. Catherine's emails exposed their plan to pressure vocal residents. We turned their words into a battle cry. Silenced no more. Other neighborhoods shared stories, water cutoffs, homes lost to fines. This wasn't just Willow Creek, it was a disease. The trial was a storm. Sophia presented damning evidence. Emails, invoices, our voices. Rachel spoke of her mother's failing oxygen. Lisa described wrapping her son in blankets to survive the cold. I recounted Margaret's fire, tying it to Tommy's death. This wasn't a mistake, I told the jury. It was arrogance. They deliberated 4 hours, finding the HOA liable for $2.5 million in damages, $800,000 punitive. It wasn't about money, it was justice. Catherine resigned, but her allies fought dirty anonymous threats, my shed lock broken, my mailbox trashed. Sophia countered with a harassment warning. Emily's expose, from control to chaos, went viral. The city held a town hall, and stories flooded. Ina veteran fined for a flagpole, a family locked out during a flood. New laws banned HOAs from cutting utilities without oversight. We rewrote our charter, banned punitive fines, and built a real community gardens, potlucks, a library box by Margaret's rebuilt home. We named the park Tommy's Flame, honoring my brother and our fight. Margaret returned, her house reborn with solar panels and new alarms. At her welcome, she held a sign, I still burn bright. I stepped down as HOA president, passing it to Rachel. She added youth programs, a community center, safety partnerships. I mentor kids now, teaching them to fight fires and tyranny. Each night, I sit on my porch, watching the streetlights glow, a testament to what we won. Not just power, but dignity, unity, and the courage to say, no more.